So we're going over the 360, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
no, through the labs that
Through
I
like the
believe that
labs.
60 is the most comprehensive assessment, right? That includes the most labs.
Yes. It will include, yeah, all of the labs.
I have them here too if you need them. And then those and then the advanced.
Perfect. Yeah, because there's the baseline and then there's the advanced, and the advanced would encompass all the labs that we essentially
Correct.
have here. So we can go through them all. So we'll start with the blood test. So these would be all of the tests that we do for blood work. The first one is something called an Access Comprehensive Blood Panel, and it is your general chemistry, liver, kidney function, hormone, specialty, essentially labs, lipid panels, iron panels, pretty much everything that you can get done at your physician and lots more. So it's full functional lab testing, essentially. There's the component of the urinalysis that would obviously look at, whether you have a UTI, infections, potential leukocytes in your urine.
It
Pardon?
includes urine? It includes
Yes.
urine?
Yes,
Okay.
but the urine component is to look at metabolic health. So infections, white blood cells, blood, ketones, things called like oxalates, so formation of crystals. So it's metabolically looking at your urine.
And I've read in many different pamphlets the word of vibrant.
Vibrant?
Vibrant.
Okay, vibrant is, so I think we call it vibrant urine because it's also a urine collection. So Vibrant Wellness is the portal or the brand that we use for that specific testing. What we use, Vibrant Wellness portal serves lots of different testing. Right now, we only use them for their urine component and two blood components, sorry. So we can go right into Vibrant. So Vibrant serves for a urine component of toxins. So we can do a Vibrant urine of mycotoxins, which is the formal word for molds, environmental toxins, which includes BPAs, pesticides, herbicides, endocrine disruptors, and then heavy metals unprovoked. So all of your classic heavy metals, mercury, lead, thallium, whole panel of all of those toxins through urine. And then we also use Vibrant Wellness Portal for a food sensitivity test, which we can do through blood or finger prick. So parents like to know that they can do a finger prick for their children for food sensitivity.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then the last one we do through Vibrant as blood is, it's not something as popular, but it's something called an oats test, which is organic acids. And organic acids are metabolites that are used in, essentially, a simple way of understanding it is mitochondrial health. So the functionality of your mitochondria is going to be based on these specific metabolites, which
How do
are
you spell
OAT, OAT.
OAT? Okay.
Yeah, which is just an acronym for organic acids.
Okay, and the T stands for what?
Testing.
Testing. Okay.
I love it. No, you're good. So that's what we use. That's the Vibrant umbrella of testing that we do through Vibrant. You can, no, I won't really go into that. Okay, so then in terms of the rest of the blood tests, then we have the Cyrex lymphocytes. So Cyrex is obviously the laboratory, and what it tests is something called a lymphocyte map. We have two types of immunity in our body. One that is innate, something that you're born with, something that you get from your mom, which is something called the leukocytes or the white blood cells, which we'll look at in the access panel. Lymphocytes are adaptive immunity. So they're the T cells, B cells, and the importance of knowing how healthy your adaptive immunity is because it's how we're able to literally incur toxins and get rid of them or defend against them. And as we know, in this growing environment of lots of different toxins that we're being exposed to in food and environment, we want to know how well your body is able to handle that load with how strong those lymphocytes are. So I think that's the easiest way to explain that blood test. We use that test specifically also to prescribe microimmunotherapy. I think it's important.
And are you taking over the microimmune?
Yes, I'll be taking over the microimmunotherapy. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I think this will be more of a cornerstone of our clinic. So in any way that you guys can kind of study to understand what microimmunotherapy is, it would be great. Simply put, it's sequential capsules that help correct the signals of your immune system. So let's say you have an autoimmune, so your immune system is firing too much. It corrects the signal to turn that off or redirect it. Same idea if you are chronic infections, chronic viruses, you need your immune system turned a little bit back on. So that same correction happens. So it's really powerful for autoimmunes, asthma, chronic infections like UTIs, stuff like that, viral loads. And so that's the Cyrex lymphocyte. The next blood test we do is the Kennedy-Krieger fatty acid profile. So different than organic acids would be the fatty acids, and those are the essential fatty acid maps. So, you know, the way that you guys understand omega-3s and omega-6s, that would be a good way to explain to your clients. It looks at the profile of how much, you know, oh my God, sorry. It's 7 a.m. Taj, can you help me with something really quick? Sorry, I have a flight. Alex is in Pensacola and
You booked the wrong flight?
there's no way. It was 7 p.m. Oh, help.
Yes.
You need to reschedule?
Okay.
Wait, I think he's confused because that's departing. Can
He
you?
left at 7.
Yeah, I think he's confused. I know I booked the 7 p.m.
Where did it go to? Where was it booked under you?
Can you forward the email confirmation to me and info@7?
Who booked it?
I did.
What email did it go to?
His email. Alex@sender. He's gonna send it. Mission: get Alex out of Pensacola. Sorry. I think if he calls, I'm just gonna tell him to call you. So the fatty acid profile. So we use that test to administer, you know, our main supplements here, which is the PC oil, the evening primrose, and the balance oil, which pretty much work to balance the ratio of those fatty acids in your body, strengthen the areas where a lot of people, you know, kind of lack in, which is the omega-6s. We tend to be overly focused on the omega-3s. So it's just a profile of those fatty acids, and an easy way to understand it is the profile of that, and then any potential, I'll use the word toxins that may be building up or debris building up within the cell because of the breakdown or deficiency in those essential fatty acids. It's a good way to understand it. So yeah, obviously that test is really important because it's the cornerstone of what we do here with PCIVs and all those supplements that you can upsell. And those would be the supplements that are included in the PK Ultra, the Primrose, PC, and Balance Oil, those 3.
So that's another trick. I don't know if we have time for that today, but that's something that I would love for the whole team to be deeply, you know, immersed in what entails the whole PK protocols. That there's an understanding, okay, of the benefits. However, for example, the PCIVs. Whoa, you know what I'm trying to say. So for example, I hear a lot, the balance oil, the primrose, the PC oils. I don't know if now is the correct time for you to expand a little bit more on the benefits of this, because these are supplements, these are not labs, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that right now, like, is
separate.
or two that's separate, right? If we should keep on moving forward with labs or dive in a little bit into these supplements. I don't know. How do
I
you
can
feel?
finish with labs, and I'm okay to review those ones. I think there's a way to explain them in a really simplified way. Yeah,
Right.
that's not too technical, and that way you can understand even like, because you guys want to start doing supplements there as well, right? And those would be great
Yeah.
ones to start
Sooner
with.
than later.
What'd you say?
Sooner than later. And actually,
Yeah.
you have our advisor sitting on your left.
Exactly. So yeah, I will definitely go into supplements for you. So that's that blood test. And then we got into the trying to think if I'm forgetting anything in terms of blood. I don't believe so.
What about glycan age?
Oh, the glycan age.
Data.
Yeah, glycan age is a fun one, I guess, for you guys to know. Not a lot of people purchase it outside of the 360, but I think it's a good upsell opportunity because it's kind of cheaper, and then people like to know, oh, what's my biological age? And that's all that it is, biological versus chronological. So, you're 30, but is your organ saying you're 30, or is there a specific amount of inflammation that might be decreasing what that is for you in terms of how healthy your organs are? So that's all that test really measures. And it just makes it an interesting printout of the whole thing. And that's really all that test does. Okay, so then I think that's it for the blood then. So then in terms of, you can tell me though, Joan.
Dr. Data?
No.
Heavy metals, what provoking agents?
Nope.
Okay. So let's say we have a prospect that this person at the moment is not ready to invest 5,000 or 7,500, and this person wants to do, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 different labs. Which would be those labs that you guys would recommend that will give a nice picture of whatever this person might be interested in knowing? And because you guys, I believe Brico offers all of these labs separately, no? Not only on the 360.
Yeah, everything you can sell a la carte. And in that case, it'll be, I think what would be best is a little bit of investigation. So let's say that, sorry, I'm so sorry, guys. Alex is just calling me, and it's the flight situation. That's the only reason why. I'm just going to answer it really quickly.
Take it. Don't worry.
Joan, I'll answer that for you. This is Dr. Meehan. Hey.
Dr. Mihal, thank you for yesterday. It was a really nice webinar.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So I would say you're never going to go wrong with blood. Blood's going to be your gold standard for pretty much everything. It's got the most data behind it, that sort of thing. So the Access Medical Panel, for sure, absolutely. If somebody wants to get an idea of kind of where they are from a health standpoint, I think that one's essential. And then, I mean, if they want to, I would say probably the gut health test second. So looking at the GI-FX and kind of getting an idea from that standpoint. The others are nice to have for sure if you want to do deeper dives, but I think it depends. And I agree with Allison's talking about kind of what their history and some of the other pieces are. But if you want to try to get somebody in the door to get them assessed, evaluated, and get some pretty key information, I think the Access Comprehensive Blood Panel would be number one, in my opinion.
Access is number one. Okay.
Yep. So we're going to be able to glean a good amount of information from just doing that by itself. When we get started on multiple treatments or interventions with just that information. Others are helpful. I'm not trying to downplay those, but that and probably looking at gut health would be the top two.
Gut health.
Yeah, so the GIFX test, which is the 3-day stool collection, also I think is very good. So if somebody really just wanted to get a little bit of good information, those would be two things I think would be at the top of my list. And then, you know, a lot of times just even the blood panel is what I typically use for full assessment. And, you know, we'll add some of the other pieces depending on what we find with their history, but you can never go wrong with blood.
Agreed.
Do you know the a la carte price for that off the top of your head?
We have the flyers.
Uh,
If not, it's okay. We have it.
We have the flyers here.
I don't. We can find it for you though.
So the Access Comprehensive Blood Panel and the Gut Health GI Effects, those two could get somebody at least something to get started.
Yes.
If they don't want to spend the 5,000.
Correct. Yep. Even just the blood panel would be good just to get them in the door, and we can glean a good amount of information from that for sure. And then depending on what we find as far as talking more, we may recommend some other things, maybe looking at a, you know, cortisol panel where basically either urine or blood, we kind of see what their cortisol status is. You know, I do like, you know, the other tests that Allison touched upon, the Kennedy Krieger in relation to kind of their omega-3, omega-6, and some of the other fat levels. And then looking at immune health is always beneficial, in my opinion, no matter what you do. Even from what I do from a regenerative medicine standpoint, can be incredibly powerful and helpful, even for beauty. I mean, if their immune system is amok, they're not going to heal from anything, be it Neogen, be it, you know, PRP with microneedling, be it some of the other things as well as they could be or should be. So this isn't just germane to the PC protocol. This is germane to everything that can be done.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, each of them are going to have beneficial piece of information. I don't care what they're deciding they want to do. And the other thing we're going to have soon is we're going to be able to capture wearable data and some other things in an app where we can kind of see if the treatments we're doing are moving the needle in a positive direction. So it could be even some of the modalities that we use, or the HOCAD or float tank, or combination of all those type things. We get ideas if, you know, their heart rate variability is improving, their sleep's improving, their heart rate is improving, you know, where they are as far as their activity levels. And we can measure any piece of data. So if you guys have things you want to measure, can be done as far as part of this app. And it will interface with pretty much everything. Oura Ring, Garmin Watch, Whoop, you name it. Pretty soon they're going to have the capabilities of just looking at the screen, and it can follow your eye movements and listen to your voice for 6 seconds and figure out where you are from a stress related standpoint, mental health related standpoint, and a good number of other measures and markers, believe it or not. So there's going to be opportunities where we can get objective and measurable data to decide if the things we're doing are saying what we're doing, or they're moving the needle for people. It could be anything. EBU could be any of the modalities. It could be what I do. It could be what any of us do. So
what kind of test labs do you guys perform there at Breco whenever we have a client interested in EBU or in PK protocols? What kind of biomarkers do you guys?
That's the rub I have, is we're not really getting anything. So to do it, they don't necessarily have to have any blood work done. Technically have to, probably not, but by the same token, if somebody goes, hey, I want to know if it helped improve X, Y, or Z, if we got pre, then we can test it post. So for example, you asked about chelation. So had a lady that I assessed the other day that had a heavy metal chelation test pre and post, and her mercury and lead were quite high, really high. So after we do 3 sessions of EBU, we're going to repeat that. We can see if things are improving. So,
right?
So is that out of the realm of possibility to look at if somebody wants to do it? Not at all. So we can definitely get that taken care of. Now, does everybody have to do it? Not specifically, but if it's something they have specifics that they want to look at, you know, I think any piece of data is helpful, and then we can retest it and see if it's doing what we say it's doing. If it's not, then we can look at alternative things.
I'm back also, by the way. I hope that he was able to, Dr. Meehan was able to answer everything for you guys. But let me know if you need anything else.
No, I mean, any other labs that you guys offer that our team should know about deeper, or did we cover the main assessments?
Did you guys discuss the Genova test?
We did. I talked the GIFX. I told her if somebody wanted to get good ideas on, simpler things to do or would give us the biggest bang for the buck, I told her the Access Medical Panel and the GIFX stool test.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like those. Both of those tests are pretty like baseline, good entry point. So.
And then we can get them plugged in, and then if we decide there's other things from what Allison was talking about as far as their history or targeted things they want to look at, then we may add a whatever, Kennedy Krieger, or we may add a Cyrex, or we may add a cortisol test, or we may look at, any number of things. Bone health, potentially.
Starting May 7th, 2025, U.S. travelers must.
Yeah, in terms of other tests,
Please visit AE.com for additional information.
no, I feel like those are the best ones for you guys to kind of start with everything.
And if you guys have time, can we review some of the main supplements you guys recommend at Brickle? I know that this question might be a little bit vast because it would depend on each individual's specific health. But I don't know, maybe the top 10 sellers you guys have at Brickle supplements that are weak, like for example, the Primrose and the PC oils and the Balance. Can we dive a little bit deeper into each of these supplements?
Yeah, I think the easiest there's lots of simple ways to understand all of those, let's say the 3 oils, right? So the PC oil is great because it really helps with liver detoxification. It helps with, methylation, which are all words kind of people understand and know, bile production, which helps with digestion, gut health. So you see someone with, liver, they want to detox, they want to feel good. There's, PC has its hand in so many different things, but I think those are the key points of sale, and those kind of resonate with a lot of people.
And what's the presentation? Are capsules, just liquid? How is it, the PC oils?
It's a liquid, and they'll just take, I think it's safe for you guys to kind of just do the recommended dosage. We high dose here. I think the recommended dosage is like half a teaspoon. We do recommend a tablespoon a day, always with food. It needs to be absorbed with a protein. And PC it's an oil, but it's a phospholipid. They'll see in the ingredients accompanying oils, I think it's flax, and some other type of seed oil. So specifically, I'll tell you guys this just because we encountered this yesterday. There's lots of misconception on seed oils out there. Seed oils are not inherently bad for you. Industrialized, heated, processed seed oils that have oxidized in food are bad for you. Right. But the components, the fatty acids that are like omega-6s, arachidonic acid, that are vital in those types of seed oils, extracted, cold pressed oils, are actually really good for you. So we had a client here who had questions about ingredients. So I just figured, since there's so much talk about seed oils, it's good to kind of understand that for you guys. So that's PC. And then they have to take it liquid form. For kids, we recommend them taking it with honey. It kind of helps mask the taste. Oh my gosh, sorry. I have so much going on. It's the CPU Life Preserver PC oil. Please give it to him. We'll charge Alex after. Just one. New PC, thank you.
Ladies, I gotta run. I'll let you back to Allison. I got a consult. Good talking with you. Good seeing you.
Thank you. So that's PC oil. Then we have the Balance oil. Balance oil, it's easy to remember what that kind of does because it literally balances your ratio of omega-3s and omega-6s. And this kind of goes back to the concept of having healthy inflammation and anti-inflammation. The body needs to inflame in order to fight infection, but it also needs to be able to have the correct amount of guidance or signal in there. And that's what those essential fatty acids do. So it's not like we're giving you omega-6, which is a polyunsaturated fatty acid, which is those PUFAs that everyone's like, oh, seed oils. It's the right ratio. So, you know, it'll have a higher ratio of omega-3 because we want to stay anti-inflammatory. What I would say is that anyone who has immense, though, oxidative stress, immense metabolic health issues, lots of, let's say, heavy metals, molds, really inflamed, it might not be the best thing for them. Or it's something that you'd want to prescribe after a little bit more investigation. And it's meant to be something that you kind of is controlled. So you're only going to be on it for like 3 months to correct that signal. PC, I would say anyone can take, anyone can enjoy, and there's almost no contraindications for it. But balance is a little bit more specific most of the time. Evening primrose is something called a GLA. It's an omega-9, and it's really helpful with balancing hormones, especially for women. So that's a really great one to give to anyone who's experiencing menstrual pains. It does something in the prostaglandin pathway, which is really supportive for women. Like, I would just say evening primrose is a beautiful name. It's a beautiful word. Think of it as like it's great for men too, but it's really great for women who have like hormone imbalances, menopause, menstrual cramping, PMS, PCOS, acne, because it helps clean up that specific pathway that's really beneficial for the body, along with detoxification. So I think that's, you know, easy things to kind of marry together and remember. So that's those three, and those would be more of the cornerstone again of what we do here. And then we, you know, I think for you guys at Gables, a lot of global healing products would be amazing for you to have there. The liver support is incredible, men's hormone support, women's hormone support, having things like berberine or Insules on deck for anyone with diabetes or metabolic issues, having what other they I think they have a great digestive bitter, which I love. They have a great mineral tincture, which is great to have. B vitamins are always great to give to people, and B vitamins pair really well with PC oil because, again, it's about the methylation, so it encourages correct detox. B12, yeah, all of those would be great pairings for all of those supplements. And, you know, they have great greens powder at Global Healing too, which is good. Brain health with lots of adaptogenic mushrooms that I love. Everyone should be overdosing on lion's mane.
Oh.
Ashwagandha tincture. I prescribe ashwagandha to almost everybody.
So I would like to eventually, sooner than later, order supplements for Gables, and I will totally base it on your top 10 sellers.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we can say that after what you have explained to us, PC oils, balance oils, evening primrose, so 3 there. Then hormone support, I would say that you guys have women and men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have 5 right there, and then 5 more. You also mentioned berberine, the mineral tincture, B vitamin, green powder. You mentioned brain power, but what's the name of brain power? Is that the name?
Brain health is what it's called. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, but that brain health is different from the lion's mane?
No, it's all the same. It's all inside. Yeah.
And ashwagandha, it's in that same powder as well.
It's actually a separate one. It's a concentrated ashwagandha, which is powerful because ashwagandha is really good at well absorbed liposomally. So I love their ashwagandha.
Okay, so Can you expand a little bit more on the benefits of lion's mane?
Yeah, lion's mane is one of those adaptogenic mushrooms that, you know, there's that whole category of like turkey tail and lion's mane, and, you know, shiitake kind of floats in there a little bit as well. But they all kind of optimize certain neuron pathways in the brain that bring a sense of calmness but sharpness. So it's kind of like L-theanine in a way, that same compound that exists in matcha, where, you know, depending on the dosage, depending on the threshold of the dosage, you can use lion's mane to feel kind of more relaxed, or you can use it for, specifically in global healing, they have it a bit more high dosed to bring clarity, to bring a little bit of sharpness, to remedy brain fog, help the body kind of I like to take it in the morning because it naturally dissipates cortisol in the morning, which is what
The peak.
Hi, this is Allison. Give me 1 second.
Sorry,
I was on hold with American Airlines.
No, take it.
Thank you. Oh, thank God. Okay, Alex is getting out of Pensacola. Oh my God, what a crazy time.
Alex who? Alex
Alexander.
Fireman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Oh
Okay,
God.
so at the moment I have a list of 11 supplements. And for some reason I have the idea of ordering only 10. No specific reason, just, whatever. When it comes to mineral tincture, can you explain to us the benefits of that supplement? I know, I believe that those mean like zinc and selenium and all those, no?
Yes. So what they sell is, yes, exactly, a trace mineral tincture, which is separate from like an electrolyte mix, which would have sodium, potassium, magnesium, which I would potentially add to that list as well, that Body Bio does, called Elite, because they have those specific electrolytes again in the correct ratio. So a lot of people make supplements wrong because it's not, the body does things in correct balance. So it's not about too much of something, it's about the right amount. But in their trace mineral Ormus tincture is exactly all of those trace elements. So zinc, selenium, boron, I'm blanking on all of the other ones right now. Oh, it has a little bit of magnesium. Yeah, just essentially anything that's like more difficult for the body to absorb or to take in the trace element world is in the correct ratio in that as well.
Okay. And just for the sake of asking the question, I'm no expert in supplements in general, okay? But I've heard and read a lot about the molecular structure of how these supplements are presented within the product. I would believe that whatever you guys offer at Brico, for sure, knowing Leila, are the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
So Nadia, what's the word? Bioavailability?
Bioavailability.
That's the word, right? When
Mhm.
they're like digestible. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a great point for global healing. So the way that you extract and synthesize supplements matters in how that they mirror in the body. And that's what would make something more bioavailable than not. So depending on where I extracted the vitamin C from, as the way the body would recognize it would determine its bioavailability or absorbable capacity for the body in order to actually utilize it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe if you guys can share with us, just for the sake of proportions,
Mm-hmm.
like the amount of product you guys have like sell per month on this top 11 products, supplements that you just mentioned, that will help us a lot to calculate like those first orders. I would totally base it on Brickle sales, like whatever they sell the most. And
Like, I'm just curious what an average person would get. Like, what's like the typical?
I was asking like the typical average order from a client when it comes to
if they're
supplements.
interested?
Like 15 at a time. So now that we're even talking about this, there's a few other things that come to mind. So we also sell beef organs here, which are really popular.
Mhm.
They include like the desiccated liver, heart, variety essentially of beef organs, which are really amazing. And so those ones are really popular. And then we sell 2 prebiotic powders so a lot of our supplement sales have been pertaining to the way that Daniela builds her protocols. I'm not going to change them too much. I agree with the oils. PC is, PC, we sell PC every single day. That's just our big one. I would honestly understand everything that you can about phosphatidylcholine, and just so you can communicate it really, because it's so foreign to most people. They've never heard that word before. So it's a good thing to be able to kind of educate people on, and it's one of the more expensive ones. So it's good to sell. So these two powders that we sell, one of them I love because it's really rich in polyphenols, which is a huge cofactor when it comes to phosphatidylcholine synthesis in the body. So they're great pairings of, and we kind of believe, me and Daniela are aligned in the sense that I'm not a big probiotic person. We believe in giving the body what it needs to create what it needs instead of just giving it what we think it needs. It's the same theory as vitamin D. You'd rather give the cofactors and the coenzymes and kind of so it can synthesize its own vitamin D. So you also have a true value. So prebiotics are huge here. We sell a Simple Reds with like beets and other red vegetable powder, essentially, with something called it's called HMO, which stands for human milk oligosaccharides. It's not made from human milk. It's just a specific strain of bacterium. So those ones are really popular here, and I would personally be still prescribing those as well. And then I'm just a little bit more in the herbal world. So for right now, that's kind of our most popular things. But with my protocols, I'm probably going to include a little bit more of an herbal support where the global healing comes in. But in terms of most popular, it will always be those 3 oils, the prebiotic powders, the Body Bio Elite, so electrolytes, and the beef organs. And then there's another oil here that we sell called sea buckthorn oil, which is an omega-9, which I'll continue to sell as well. That'll be popular. But I think focusing on a nice blend for you guys of the oils and some herbal tinctures from Global Healing and things people recognize as well, like vitamin C and stuff like that, would be a great blend for you guys to have.
Global Healing, it's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing because it tastes so good because it's black currant.
I purchased a few of them and I have give them as birthday gifts.
They're so delicious.
Earrings or whatever. I give the vitamin C from Global Healing.
Yeah, I love that. The gift of health.
Exactly. Do you have any specific questions?
Yeah, like, so for the blood analysis, like, how does it work when somebody goes there? Like, how to, take us through the process of what the client experiences and what happens after. Like, do they get like consultation to like, okay, you did this blood analysis, now you're going to do this, and like, what's the client journey? They have an idea.
Great question. So, and that's kind of shifting right now. So I'm going to say how it's going to be now, just so I think that's the easiest way, even though we're still a little bit in a transition period. What'll happen is, let's say, okay, so if you sell the labs, right? So if you sell the labs, what I would need to happen right now is for you to send an email to myself and Nadia, myself right now, just as I'm teaching her the process. And then Nadia is going to reach out to you. So you would either, in that email, you're going to write the labs that you sold. So let's say you just sold the Access and the I'll keep it simple, like the Cyrex. So 2 blood tests, right? In that email, you'll tell Nadia that, and right now myself, I've sold these 2 tests. The client's name is this. And whether you've booked her for those labs or you want us to do that, totally fine for us, to be honest with you, until we get into a really good flow and schedules are perfect on Zenoti and everything's great. For right now, I would say just say, the client would like to be booked for Wednesday at this time, or she's also available Tuesday at this time. We prefer to only do labs Monday to Thursday, never Fridays, for blood, just for blood only. Okay, so, or my client's fully available. More information is always allowed. So as much information as you feel like giving us in that email, as long as we have their name and what you sold them, then we'll be able to take it from there. So when we take it from there, Nadia will reach out to the client. Hey, Susie, you're going to be, whatever, I'm going to book you for your blood test Wednesday, 9:30. Perfect. You're going to have to be fasting for 12 hours for these tests. And then we book them in the little Zenoti system and they'll come in at 9:30 on Wednesday. Alex will take care of them. ship them out. And then for those specific 2 tests, I get them back in around 48 to 72 hours. So we'll probably tell the client as well, you're booked for Wednesday. Ooh, that's an important point. So I think this is something we're kind of trying to figure out now. I think what would be best is to sell a consultation with the test. So if they'd like to see a doctor, you sell them the consultation with Sanchez or Meehan, or Sarah. Don't really know how that works. With the test. Because I'll be taking over MIT, if you ever sell Styrex or Krieger, they're going to go to me. And then I will kind of pivot towards, you know, if they need to see a doctor, going to Sanchez or Meehan or whatever, if that's necessary. But if you sell those 2 tests, they'll go to me. But if you sell an access and they want to see a doctor, send them to the doctor. But I would recommend selling that, because when we get the labs back, we're not going to really know who to book them with. So kind of gauge what the client wants. And then also when you sell the tests, which are expensive, and then I call them and say, hey, now if you want these read to you, it's going to be $800. It kind of like makes them like, what? We just spent $2,000 on tests and now you want me to, like, it doesn't make sense to them. So to bypass that, always sell the consult with the tests, which, you know, you can tell them comes with full interpretation and a protocol for them. Okay. So include that in the email. Test sold, consult paid for Sanchez. So that way, when Nadia calls them to book the labs, she can also book the consult. Okay, cool. I'll have these labs back in like the next 3 days. So let's just go ahead and book you with Sanchez now for next week. And we'll put it in the system. And that way, boom, their journey is booked. So they came in, they did the labs. Now the labs come back in a portal that we have access to here that I'm going to show Nadia today. She'll take those labs out. We'll add them to our Practice Better portal. And obviously in that interim, they filled out all the forms and done the medical intake. And that's not something that you guys necessarily, well, when you sell them, when you book, you're not going to be booking them. I would just advise the client when you sell them that forms are going to be coming to their email. Look out for them, fill them out. It's required for all appointments. I think that's just the easiest way. Make them aware of the forms. Then Nadia would have put them in the portal, and you know, she's already made the appointment for the provider. So it's the provider's now duty to check ahead on their calendar, see Susie on their calendar, see all the labs on there and the medical intake form, and then meet with the client and administer a protocol. In that case, for you guys as the salespeople, okay, at another clinic, what would be best is, let's say it's Sanchez, if there's some way to maybe make a note on the portal that, like, you kind of done in the past, like, this is my client from Gables, blah, 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 so Sanchez knows who to follow up with to continue that relationship between yourself and the client that you've undertaken. And, you know, staying up, what I always tell the salespeople, stay up to date. Like once the consult is over, Sanchez has added all his notes and everything, and then it is technically your duty to review those notes. Let's say he recommended IVs, this IV once a week, hyperbaric 5 times a week. It's your job now to reach back out to the client and be like, hey, Susie, heard you had a great consult with Sanchez. These are his recommendations for you now. Do you want to go ahead and buy that package or get that booked? Or do you have any questions about that? And if they're questions that you don't necessarily know the answer to, then you can reach out to myself. I'm always available, or Sanchez or something, to get clarifications on maybe why he recommended those so that you can gauge that conversation well.
And so when they, backtracking back to the blood analysis, when we send you the email, we book the client, or you guys book the client, Nadia prepares them for you know, for their first arrival, they get there, how long does the blood analysis take? Is it like, no, like actually there with you, the client, how long is the session?
The blood draw will take like maybe 15 minutes. If it's just, yeah, 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes.
And then that's it, then they leave.
Then they leave.
And it takes a week to get the results.
Yeah, I'd safe to say a week. I would just safely say a week, yeah.
Fill out their forms, the intake forms before their first appointment, obviously, right? So that when they get there, everything's filled out.
Yes, all forms filled out before the blood draw, before anything else. They're going to get a series of consents and a medical intake form. They have to do that whole medical intake form. And I'm going to tell the front desk that if they don't complete those forms the day before, yes, their thing is subject to cancellation because we're having too many problems with these forms.
And these forms, how do the client receive them?
By email to them.
Great question. Oliver has expertly added our forms. All necessary forms for an appointment are sent immediately to the email on file once the appointment is made. So part of Nadia's, like, part of your job can be to remind the client you're going to get forms. But then when Nadia books the appointment and it's in Zenoti, she can also advise the client, I just booked you. You're going to see the secure link in your email now to fill out all of those forms. And they have to be done before your appointment for the blood draw.
And that first consultation, as you were saying, they pay for the labs and they pay for the consultation. How much is the consultation?
An initial consult with myself is $750. An initial consult with Dr. Sanchez is $825. And an initial consult with Dr. Meehan is $800.
Okay.
How do we know who we're sending the consult with?
So Dr. Meehan right now is here every day. So if they want to see a doctor, you can book it with Meehan. Dr. Sanchez is here sporadically, so you'd have to check ahead on Zenoti to see when he's available, and it's typically Wednesdays. And he's our medical director. That's why he's the most expensive. And he's amazing. So, and then if they don't want to pay that amount, then you can send them to me.
Now, there's an upsell opportunity in the beginning when you said have Nadia book their blood analysis, but if we at some point when it gets fixed can book that, we can say, oh, while you're there for your 15-minute blood analysis, would you like to do the PES or the
CPs or
the Immortal or the whatever, like we can do an upsell there.
Totally. And then if you do that, and then you just include that in the email and Nadia can book that for you as well. By all means, you guys can schedule your own clients too. Just
they have done that already.
Our name has to be on it to have the commissions, you know, so like for us to schedule it.
Oh, okay. And then in order for you to swipe the card, you have to schedule it, right? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'm totally cool with you guys scheduling it. And then just in the email send, because for our spreadsheet, we have to know the draw date. So just sending what your, what's it called? Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. What date you scheduled them for the blood draw. Yeah. Just so we can have it on the spreadsheet.
So you are pretty much in charge of the blood analysis and then you hand them off to the doctor for the protocol that they're gonna get from him. Is that how
Yes.
And then those notes so for example, if I'm following up with a client, I wanna see where they're at in their process. You guys are gonna be putting in the notes like, okay, they had their blood analysis, the whatever, they went to Sanchez now, so that then I go in and I go, okay, now they're meeting with Sanchez next week or whatever. Like, so that I can keep track of, or we can keep track of where the client is.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, there's going to be constant communication between yourself and Nadia, pretty much as like coordinating all of the moving pieces and making sure that you know where your client is as well. Yeah.
Good. Do you guys have any questions? Have you had the opportunity to offer labs to any client?
Pero, o sea, a los que son ya regulares, eso que tengo como, pero no están interesados.
Okay.
Pero el ebook, uno de mis clientes se lo quiere hacer. Yo ahora que ya tengo más conocimiento de algunos de los labs, chance, hay una que quiere adelgazar, que viene todos los sábados, puedo.
El access que te da las hormonas, por ejemplo.
Y luego el cortisol.
Which is the test, the lab that it provides information on the cortisol level?
The Access Comprehensive blood test.
And how much is that one?
It's currently $1,200, but I'll keep you guys updated on the change because we just actually got it lowered by Access, our cost, so we can bring down the price of it for a client as well now. So right now it's $1,200, but we're gonna bring it down.
Good.
Yeah.
The Genova?
Genova is $940, I believe. That one is gonna be expensive, yeah.
Because that Dr. Mihan, he suggested if a person just wanna do like the minimum, that person should do the Access and the Genova.
Yeah, yeah. So the two most expensive ones.
Right. Well, that's a number. You said a person, can spend $2,000 on labs, which is the sum of these two. And then the 100 for the consult.
Yeah, the idea is to obviously get them to buy 360s or PK protocols since a la carte is so expensive. That is kind of like, well, you may as well just
Exactly. Because
get
for
the whole
$2,000
package.
more, exactly. For $2,000 more, you're gonna get the whole deal. So for PK protocols, what kind of tests do you guys labs perform before applying the PC IVs?
The Krieger fatty acid profile, the Cyrex lymphocyte, and the Access, full Access comprehensive.
Okay. And that's included on the 5,000 initial fee of the PK protocol?
Yes, those 3 tests included, and then the 3 supplements and the 4 consults. And
so for the 5,000 PK protocols, Krieger, Cyrex, Access, 4 consults, and which are the 3 supplements? The PC oils, the balance, and
right? The Primrose, the PC oil, and then the Body Balance. And then also, I do want to make sure you guys know that there are therapies included in these protocols as well. So for the PK protocol, every time they come in, they can do the red light bed. And then when they're in the ES room, they do that with the hypoxia training and the hydrogen that they breathe in.
Okay.
For the EBU, if they get a package of the EBUs, they get a smoothie every time that they're here from the cafe because it's good for them to have a little something sugary beforehand so their blood glucose levels don't drop. And then they also get the EES room and then the shift wave and the VEMI.
So if they get the 3
like carbs
sweet, yeah, sweet, something sweet. So if they get the 3 package, EBU 3 package, so smoothie, ES, Shiftway, and VEMI every time they go?
Yes.
Okay.
No, not every time, just one time.
One time. Okay.
Okay. And if they do the PK protocol every time they go or one time, the red light ES and hydrogen and hypoxia?
Just one time.
One time.
With the EB code, you get the smoothie.
Okay. The smoothie, they do get it every time for the EBU.
They get it one time.
One time.
Yeah, just the
Okay.
first time.
Okay, and the PK protocols. So they pay 5,000, they get like these 3 labs, the 4 consoles, the 3 supplements, and then they get to choose also between 1 IV or 10 IVs without and with Weber.
As of right now, yes.
And how would you know that like this labs will let you guys know how many PC IVs the person should need, or how do you guys recommend the quantity?
I would just recommend 10. If you have someone come in that has MS, Parkinson's, dementia, all that, like something like cancer, something extreme, then you can tell them that would be a, based on the tests, kind of different protocol. But general wellness, typical diagnoses or something, 10 is the benchmark for everybody. Yeah.
Okay. And the time in between these PC IVs, once a week, how does it work?
Frequency determination will be by the provider, the doctor. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else?
Absolutely.
You guys do the EBU.
Mm-hmm.
Always recommend the clients to come here to do the HOCAT with the EBU, so they can enhance the whole detox process.
Yeah, I think so. That's something that we can communicate with the sales team since they're not here. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, because the EBU goes deeper, of course, but then with the HOCAT, the deep detox level they will receive through the whole lymphatic system as well. It's a wonderful complement.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. They should be upselling all of that, I would hope. Sales team.
So Nadia, can you be my voice with the sales team over there and grab Gabriela and grab Ashley and tell them to sell HOCATs with the EBU?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll let them know.
If we used to have for New Year's New You about for a package of 3, 30% off. So so what we can do is, if whoever there purchases a 3 package of EBUs, then we can also offer the 3 sessions of HOCAT for 30% off.
Okay.
And Nadia manages our price list for, like the back of our hand. So
perfect. That's great. That's great. We can bring it up in the medical team meeting too. So maybe if anyone doesn't know that much about the HOCAT, Nadia can talk about that, which would be great.
hey,
That's on Fridays? Or?
we should do more
Thursday.
We should do more Thursday at 5. And we should do more cross-selling, because we are sending a lot of prospects to Brickle, but we're not getting prospects from Edgewater or Brickle.
Yeah, more ways that we can integrate, I think it would be great.
Yes. I'm gonna stop the recording.